Hello, dear friends, and welcome to Live Conversation in Allatra TV. In these programs, we get to meet new people in order to learn more about them and their vision of a creative society, a society where every person is happy and comfortable in all spheres of life. This broadcast is a part of the Creative Society project launched on the platform of Allatra International Public Movement. For now, our goal is to ask all people on Earth how they envision a creative society. In order to achieve it, we use modern technologies and the rule of six handshakes, which says that we are all connected through five or even fewer social connections. Today we have a very special guest from the UK, but before we introduce him, I would like to remind to our viewers that at the end of this program, we will ask our guest to share a name of a person that he would like to meet at one of our broadcasts. And we will ask our viewers to share this video with two hashtags, hashtag Allatra Unites and hashtag Creative Society, to see how fast this video can get to the person our guest wants to meet at the next broadcast. My name is Yulia, and my co-host today is Alana.
Hello, everyone. And now I'm going to introduce our today's guest, Professor Patrick Businge. Professor Patrick is a founder of Greatness University, co-founder of the World Greatness Awards, initiator of the World Greatness Day, creator of the World Book of Greatness. And Professor Patrick holds international posts such as being a representative to the United Nations, where he speaks about peace and peace building. So welcome to the program, Patrick.
Thank you so much, Aliona and Julia. It's always a great pleasure when great people meet. And it is very, very, very pleased to be with you at Allatra today, or this morning, or this evening, or this afternoon, wherever you are, to talk about creative society, talk about how we together as human beings can make the world great.
Thank you. Could you please tell us a little bit about your background, maybe about how did you get into this education sphere at all?
Amazing. Actually, I always say that one of the best gifts that my parents gave me was education. Why do I say that? I remember one moment when my dad had borrowed some money so that he can pay for my education. Some of you might not understand this, but in Africa, in most countries in Africa, I come from Uganda. In most countries in Africa, education is still in the hands of the private, but at the same time, people have to pay for education. So he borrowed money and he couldn't pay for that money. So he ended up in prison for not paying back the loan he had borrowed so that I can go to school. So it happened at a time when I was meant to go back to the school. One of the relatives came to see me in prison. I said, I'm going to have this money, pay off the loan you own so that you can be out of prison. But because I was going back to school the next day, my dad said, no, I'm happy to stay in prison so that Patrick can go to school. So that's the kind of sacrifice that my parents made for me. That's the kind of sacrifice that my father did for me. And that's why I take education seriously. That's why I see education as the passport out of poverty, education as a passport out of misery. Education can change the world. Education can create the creative society we're talking about, a society where people are happy, a society where people are peaceful, a society where people live a humane and human life. Yes, so that's why I take education seriously. Based on my story, that's how I ended up on Greatness, creating Greatness University. We'll come back to that. Yes, thanks so much.
What a story. Wow. Thank you.
Oh,
very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome, Julia.
We actually prepared some collages with your photos that we would like you to comment. Our technical support is going to show it to us now. Could you please say some words about these photos?
Oh, that's brilliant. Very good surprise for me. So I did say that I come from Uganda. And if you look at the bottom left, it will be your bottom left, is my bottom left. They have some of my brothers and sisters. And at the back, it looks like a religious building, but actually it's not. That is one of the headquarters in the district I was born in the country I come from, which is Uganda. One of the things I like to say about that photo is that I grew up in Uganda. I remember going to school walking barefoot. I remember being rained on as I walked to school back and forth. But all that was because people valued education. All that was because people valued what they got or learned from others. And I think that's very key. So that photo symbolizes where I come from in Uganda, but at the same time, it symbolizes my home. That is my home. It's a very poor area. But one of the things that I always say is, I lived in that environment. I lived in poverty, but I did not let poverty live in me. What do I mean by that? The people who are living even in Europe or in America, these are rich countries, but are they still living in poverty? And that is the poverty of mind. That's the poverty of spirit or heart. They are poor as human beings, not materially. And that's why we are talking about the creative society, because what has happened is that the materialism, the consumerism, the capitalism, all those isms have driven us away from who we are. So when I go back, for example, to my village, as you see there, I go back to the basics. I go back to how life is or was and should be, whereby you live on nature, whereby you live a very simple life, whereby you rely on the land for water. Like, for example, when I go home, I go back to the well. We draw water from the well. There's no running tap in the house. We use the sun as sunlight. Of course, the sun provides the light. There's nothing, we don't have electric. So there's nothing like, I don't know, global warming and so on, or, excessive emissions and so on. Then the spot above that was in Texas. In Houston, Texas, we had gone to celebrate a wedding of my sister-in-law. They live in Texas, so we went over 2 or 3 years ago to celebrate the wedding. And again, in Africa, in the culture I come from, community is very important. And as we see as well in the creative society, we are driving people to come back to the community, because we are communal beings. You cannot be human by yourself. But that's what the West has made us. That's what America and the Europe and so on have made us, individualism, that we don't care about others. We don't care about what's going to happen to that person if we don't help them. So it's very important that as well we think about, okay, how can we come back to a community? And actually that's what we've just put on about the World Greatness Award. We are creating at Greatness University, we are creating a community of greatness. Why? Because that is the awardees that we'll be honoring on the 15th of August. On the 15th of August, they will be having the World Greatness Award. And those are the people from all over the world. Actually, it's about 30 different nationalities. They will be coming. Okay, some of them will be coming to London and will be honoring and celebrating their greatness. Why? Because each one of us is great. But rarely we celebrate people's greatness. More than often, we celebrate their greatness when they are dead. More than often, that's when we say those good things about them, when they're dead or being buried. So here we're saying, no, look, we don't have to wait for that celebration after death. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate greatness now. And those are the photos you put there. They represent the ceremonies that we've had in the past, celebrate people's greatness, but at the same time, document their greatness in the first ever World Book of Greatness. This is the first full edition of the World Book of Greatness. Thank you. For the
Thank
great surprise, those photos, actually. Photos tell great stories, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
We like surprising people.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. And we wanted to ask you, what do you think is the mission and the contribution of our Greatness University to society?
Thank you so much, Julia, for asking that question. So the contribution of Greatness University. What is a contribution to a good society? As I did say at the beginning, is that lots of people are living lives which they shouldn't live. Lots of people are living without motivation. Lots of people are living without purpose. Lots of people are living without vision. And without vision, what happens? We perish. So there is a way to win in life, and that is showing what the ideal society is, which is an ideal society, is a great society. So that's what we imagine, that's what we envision. Greatness University is a platform where we celebrate greatness. So let's think about the highest greatness of Julia. You at your best, or Aliona, you're at your best as the greatest human being. And then we help you step by step walk towards that greatness. So help you discover it if you haven't. Because again, greatness is not about, I see it 4 dimensions in my book titled The Greatness Code. You talk about the 4 dimensions of greatness. So there's the search, because if you think about the systems that we have, you go to school, most of the time you go to uni, most of the time you go to college, most of the time you're studying about other people, you're studying about other systems, you're studying about plants and rocks and animals, but rarely do they give you a chance to study about yourself. So our Greatness University is the turn to yourself. You're studying you and realizing who you are. So the first dimension of greatness is the inward greatness, the turn to you and asking, who am I? What will happen to me if I don't know who I am? And that's why lots of other people end up living other people's lives. Or my parents wants me to become a doctor, therefore you become a doctor. My parent wants to become a lawyer, therefore you become a lawyer. But that's not you. So who am I? So the inner dimension of greatness is you going back to yourself and trying to work out who you are. The moment you discover who you are, the moment you discover a gift, then you're already great in a way. So from there, you have to go outwards to manifest your greatness. And that's the outward dimension of greatness. And that really has to do with service to others. You cannot be great by yourself. We can only be great together. So once I know who I am, once I know what my gifts are, my goals, my vision, my purpose, then I go out and live that purpose. I can't live by myself, but I need others to be able to fulfill that purpose. So the outward greatness seeks to serve others and make a contribution to society. In other words, you're answering the question, what will happen to that person if I don't help them? I remember watching a YouTube clip, and it was the one guy in America, and he was driving in a car, and there was his daughter in the car, and the daughter said, "Oh, I see a homeless person. Oh, Daddy, there's another homeless person there. Oh, Daddy, there's another homeless person. When are we going to stop and help them, Daddy? When can you stop the car and we help these people?" So the outward greatness is you going out and helping, making a difference in your community in spite of your circumstances, making a difference in community with what you have. And then we have the another level of two other levels, dimensions of greatness, whereby you are looking upwards and asking the question, what is the source of my greatness? And then when you get the response downwards, which is downward greatness, once you find the source of your greatness, we are talking about the creative society. What is the source of that idea? Once you get that response, that's downward greatness. You're asking the question, what is the source of the creative society? What's the source of greatness uni? That is upward. So that's what we do, help walk people from discovering, developing, delivering, sustaining, and celebrating their greatness. And that is the contribution making them. Once we give them this image of a great society, a great human being, then they are able to walk into their greatness and live their best lives.
Thank you. It's so inspiring. And actually, what really touched me is the fact that you said it's about unity, about coming together. And this project, the Creative Society that we're talking about, is actually about this, that no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, we're all humans, and our home is this planet. The whole planet is our home. Not a certain part of the earth, we're all one big family, and it's all about unity of people. So so going back to this idea, that on ALLATRA International Public Movement, we have this project, Creative Society. So, Patrick, I really want to hear your idea on the Creative Society. How do you envision this world where people are happy in all spheres of life? So could you please share your ideas on the Creative Society? How do you see it?
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And that question has taken me back home where I come from. In Africa, we have actually, according to the Nobel Peace Prize winner, Dr. Desmond Tutu, he says Ubuntu. Some of you might not know how to say this or spell it. Ubuntu. Ubuntu is Africa's greatest gift to the world. What do I mean by Ubuntu? Ubuntu is based on, it's very hard to translate in different languages, but the most important thing is to realize that Ubuntu involves community, it involves communalism, it involves humanism, it involves collaboration. It is based on the principle that I cannot be without you. In other words, as James Mbiti, one of the African philosophers, says, I am because you are. And since you are, therefore I am. So the society, if it has to be, or for the future of humanity, is in unity rather than disunity. The future of humanity is in recognizing that we are stronger together rather than divided. And as Dr. Martin Luther King said, we have to learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we perish together as fools. So the Creative Society vision is as a society which cares, where human beings care for each other, where human beings are focused on the human person rather than on the product they're selling them. The human being is focused on who that person is and their values in leadership rather than the piece of paper. Because if you think about it, like politics, okay, we say we don't talk about politics, but at the same time, when you think about leadership in community, in the past, a leader will emerge naturally in the society, but now you have to tick it on a piece of paper and say, okay, this is the leader. So again, that has confused people because they've dropped their traditional models of leadership and taken on models which don't work for them in that environment. So I'm thinking of a society where you have people who are leading in different spheres of life. Everyone is a leader. Why do I say that? Because we're all gifted differently. So you are leading in your lane as a technical creative, or as a person who is creating YouTube, or someone is leading in their lane, as someone creating speaking, leading their lane, as engineers, as creators of different products that we have. So we are all leading on our own, but together, whatever we have, we can put on a great human production. Just as we think about the production we're having now on Alatra TV, how many people have come together to make this possible? So thinking about YouTube, thinking about StreamYard, thinking about Apple, the computer you might be using, the mouse you're using might be from a different country. Then you have the electric, whoever invented the electric, you have the lighting, whoever invented the lighting, the green screen, the graphics. So it is a society whereby people are coming together for the common good. And the common good, I mean a good that is consumable by everyone and protects life, enhances life, sustains life, and makes sure that everyone lives their best life, which is a great life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you a lot for sharing that. And when you talked about unity and each person's contribution, it made me think about that we should appreciate each person, and we should be really thankful to the society for what we already have, and a lot of people doing their job, and that's how the whole system works. And yeah, we really need to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And actually, we ask this very question about greater society, about how people envision it all over the world, and all people say that they want to live in such a society. They want it to happen as soon as possible, and in order to achieve it, we need to have a common image, a common model of such a society, and this model, it can be based on the foundations provided in the article, Foundations and Stages for Building the Greater Society, on the website elatraunites.com. Now we would like to read you these 8 foundations, and then we would ask you to choose one of them that resonates most with you, and we will ask you to comment on it. So I will read all of them right now. The first one, human life. Second, human freedom. Third, human safety. 4, transparency and openness of information for all. 5, the creative ideology. Development of personality. Justice and equality, and self-governing society. So Patrick, could you please choose one of these foundations and comment, and we will read it, and then we will comment on it.
Thank you so much. So the first, I think everything else, every other foundation here, according to me, is based on one, human life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have freedom without a life. You can't have safety without a life. You can't have transparency without a life. So all this is based on the sanctity of life principle. Some of you might have heard about it, but all life is sacred. From birth, from conception, actually, from conception to death. So the nature of life as it is, if you think about the universe we live in, there are lots of types of lives, but human life continues to awe us. In other words, human life continues to make us wonder. Just forget about the whole body. Just think about the eye and how complicated that is. You can go down to the heart and think about how that is as well. So I think every society, and if society to be very creative and to be successful and prosperous, we need to put life at center stage, human life first, which means that life has to be celebrated, life has to be protected, life has to be enhanced, life has to be nourished, life has to be cherished, life has to be loved, life has to be protected, now, and so on. So I can't go on with the list. So it's very important that for every society to be able to prosper, then human life is important. And that's why some of the things that do not enhance human life, I would speak against. For example, capital punishment. There you're saying someone has committed a crime to an extent that they don't deserve to have a life. But if everyone's respected life, then they won't be killing others. You see that? So in other words, the education, coming back to one of the things, education, we all have to be educated on the value if we're a creative society to be, and in the future now, we have to be educated on the value of life, that we have to protect it, that we have to cherish it, that we have to make sure that whatever we do is life enhancing. And together and in that way, we'll be able to live a great life. We'll be able to live a life that is really the life we are meant to be living. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. Yes, it's so true, because society, first of all, is people, and that's why it is the first foundation. And thank you for sharing your opinion about it.
Thank you for your question. And
Thank you so much. I actually want to read it out, this first foundation, if you don't mind, because it really touches me. So human life is the highest value. Life of any human has to be protected as one's own. The goal of society is to ensure and guarantee the value of each human's life. There is not and never can there be anything else more valuable than a human's life. If one human is valuable, then all people are valuable. So that's why it's the very first foundation, because I absolutely agree with you. We really need, the human life needs to come first, then we'll have peace. If everybody will appreciate and understands the essence of it, then we will not have wars, we will not have conflicts, because human life comes first. So we all need to appreciate it.
yes,
so thank you.
And maybe just to link up with what I said about Ubuntu and African philosophy, because I did say that according to James Mbiti, I said, I am because you are, and because you are, therefore I am.
Yes,
so
exactly.
You can't be human by yourself.
We are connected.
Human life is all intertwined. Human life is all connected. That what happens to one part of the human family affects other parts of the family, just as a body. The whole human life is one body. So whatever is wrong with your body, whether it's a finger or a hand, is going to affect the whole body. And so if one person is crying there and you're not helping, if that child is saying, look, when are we going to start? When are we going to stop? Help the homeless person. That child is bleeding within them. They're bleeding with love and service for that person. But if we don't stop and help, then we're letting down the human community. We are not cherishing the life of that person.
Absolutely. Also, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about healthcare in a creative society? Education and healthcare, how do you see it in the ideal world?
Well, in the ideal world, we've already talked much about education, but I think, as someone said, your health is your wealth. So whatever happens has to enhance human life. Whatever happens or is done in a creative society has to take care of the human being so that they're healthy, that they are prosperous. But if you really reflect back, as I told you about my environment where I come from in Uganda, I remember growing up that when we'd, for example, have some fever, we'd get some plants from the forest or from the bush, and those plants would be used to cure us. Why am I saying that? Because most of the tablets you use, where do they come from? Most of them, they're based on nature, on natural things. So a creative society is a society that really enhances what is natural. and using nature to treat the human in the first instance. Because there are some of the things that we take or products we take that destroy our bodies. So I can name them, but some people do not like me naming them. But think about smoking. Of course, almost in every society, they think, oh, smoking will increase your chances of having a heart attack or cancer and so on. I'm not an expert in that. But the things that are natural, but the things that we've created and they've made our healthy more complicated. They've compromised our health. So the closer we are to nature, the better we're going to be as human beings. Think about mental health. If someone say they have, I don't know, depression, anxiety, and so on, there are some of the things they advise them, go and walk in the park, go and do a bit of running, go and do a bit of gym, just do a bit of talking to other person, then you'll be fine. Then you go through going back to those ways of healing using nature or natural products. And in that way, I think we'll be able to protect the human being. Because the way society is going and was going, and now with the outbreak of coronavirus all over the place, then the chances are we need to slow this down because some of the things we are doing are leading us to the wrong path, of which there's no exit, there's no easy exit, or no obvious exit.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing your ideas, and also again for coming back to the personal story of your life that you shared with us. We really see that how crucial it is that education is accessible to everyone, because it's really important, and it should be accessible to all people on earth.
Yes, but as well, remember there's education, there's good education, and actually have one of my professors wrote about toxic schooling, toxic education. Some education is toxic, some education kills. Because even some people go and do bad things out there, they still have received an education, but they've received the wrong type of education. They've received an education which does not protect society, which does not enhance society, which does not value life. And that's why I like some of the things we're doing with the creative society and the 8 pillars. You're thinking about, look, whatever we're doing is going to help us be better rather than having an education for the sake of education. And in reality, that education is toxic education. That's destructive education. So looking at education which is for the enhancement, for the prosperity of the human being. Yes. Sure. And as Mandela said, Nelson Mandela, another Nobel Prize winner, first Black president of South Africa, said, education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world.
Yes, that's so true. Yes, thank you for that point about equality of education as well. And now coming back to the rule of 6 handshakes, we wanted to ask you to tell us the name of a person that you would like to meet at one of our broadcasts.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Actually, I have another person. I think you'll love him. What does he do? Personally, I call him the Godfather. The Godfather of civility. So think about creating his idea is creating a civil society. A society where human beings value each other and do things which are civil. And that's none other than Professor Dr. Clyde Rivers. I will connect you to him, and you definitely love him about civility. Why? Because it ties in within whatever we are doing. And actually, yesterday I was hosting a show together with him and another lady who is a barrister, a lawyer, and she was saying, actually, civility is the only rule that has not yet been used to change the world. Why? Because the law of civility says you have to do unto others as you like to be done to you. And the chances are you want good things to be done to you. And therefore you're going to do the good thing. And that's what's all the kind of society you're creating. A great society is a civil society. A creative society is a civil society where there's respect of the human being, where there's respect and love of each other. A society that is life-enhancing rather than life-destructing. So yes, Circulate Rivers, I will connect to your team and you'll definitely love his ideas and how we can use civility to create a creative society.
Thank you so much. We can't wait to see your friend on our next live broadcast.
Yes.
But in order for us to track this video, so it can get to that person, we ask our viewers to use 2 hashtags, Alatory Nights and Creative Society. And please share the video so it can get to that person that Patrick mentioned. And also, thank you very much, Patrick, for today. Thank you for being with us. And we would like to remind our viewers that if you would like to know more about the Project Creative Society, you can visit alatorinights.com website, where you can choose your language and press join button. So then you can share your vision on a creative society. If you want to be our guest or a part of our team, please send us an email that you will see now on your screen. Here we go. So Patrick, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we'll keep in touch.
And thanks so much for giving me this opportunity. It's been a great pleasure having share my ideas on your great platform. And I look forward to a future collaborative and greatness.
Sure.
And creative-driven relationship. Thank you.
And to make the world even greater.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really enriching.
And thank you to all the viewers around the world.